How's it, cuz? It's time to walaau with me, Mr. Walaau19. Join us as we meet your uncles, your aunties, your brothers, your sisters, your brothers, sisters, uncles, cousins, neighbors, grandmother, all the ohana. We'll take you to breathtaking places you've never been. Meet famous people you've never seen. Kick back and cruise, you know the ruse.
The day has to end. I'm so happy we made new friends. We'll meet tomorrow, same time, same place. Looking forward to see your smiling face. Walaau, the day has to end. I'm so happy we made new friends. We'll meet tomorrow, same time, same place. Looking forward to see your smiling face. Walaau, 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 walaau.
Aloha Kauai, mahalo nui loa, and thank you for joining us this week in yet another exciting and informative episode of Walaau. I'm Dickie Chang. I am here on the bridge that goes over the famed Wailua River. This bridge has been appropriately named the Brian J. Baptiste Memorial Bridge. Now, those of you visitors and those of you new residents on the island of Kauai may not be too familiar with the name Brian J. Baptiste, but many Kauai residents all remember our beloved late mayor, Honorable Brian J. Baptiste. The bridge, of course, is in his honor, and it is appropriately named after him, the Memorial Bridge. Aloha begins with me. Kick back and cruise. We're going to celebrate the life of our late mayor, Brian Baptiste. I want to thank Annette Baptiste for allowing us to replay this video, of course, soon following the death of the mayor 3 years ago. Kick back and cruise, and let's refamiliarize ourselves through the eyes of his administration and great friends, beginning with Executive Assistant Gary Hugh.
I remember it like it was yesterday, actually. At that time, I was still working for Verizon Hawaii, and had decided to separate from the company on an early retirement. And I got home late one evening, drove up, and my wife came out and said, "There's a telephone call for you." And I said, "Is it work?" She said, "Yes, it's work." And so I answered the phone, and the voice on the other end says, "Hi, Gary, this is Brian Baptiste." And of course, I was stunned, and I said, "Well, congratulations, Brian, on the election and all." And knowing Brian, he cut straight to the chase. Of course, I didn't know him at that time, but you folks know him, and he's a man of few words, and cut directly to the chase and said, "I was just wondering if you'd consider being my administrative assistant." So I had to hold the phone away and go, "What is he talking about?" Because this is not a man that I knew well at all. And I said, "Well, thanks, Brian, but actually I had some other plans. I was thinking about doing something on my own. I'm a little tired of managing at this point in time, and wanted just to be an individual contributor." And he says, "Well, hey, would you at least come by and talk with me? And how can you say no to Brian?" And I said, "Sure, I'd be happy to do that." I said, "When do you want to meet?" And he said, "Tomorrow." So again, if you know Brian, and it's never soon enough. And I said, "Okay, that's fine. I can make time tomorrow." I said, "Where do you want to meet?" And he says, "How's about my campaign headquarters?" Well, I didn't want to tell him that I didn't know where his campaign headquarters was. So, I did the smart thing. I said, "Sure, I'll meet you at your campaign headquarters," and then spent the next morning trying to figure out where his campaign headquarters was. Anyway, that was the first real conversation I ever had with him, and he sat me down, and knowing his power of persuasion, after 2 hours of talking, he had me actually considering taking this crazy job, and I got to tell you, it's been quite a ride, and I wish I could tell you I've loved every moment of it, but I certainly was most appreciative of the opportunity, and it has been a true honor to work with Mayor Baptiste over the past 5.5 years. And Lori, his secretary, and I were talking the other night, and shortly after we were out of the gate, the mayor realized that we were the yin and the yang, and I truly believe that this describes our relationship, how we managed together. We were opposites in so many ways, but we came together to try to do good things for Kauai. And I truly miss my yin or my yang, whichever he is. and I know that he's looking down upon us and asking us to, continue while while we still have the time to do his work. So yeah, those are my fond memories of the mayor.
I first met the mayor back at the Waiahai Resort when he used to bring in his flowers. He and Annette had that flower shop called Petals and Passions, and that was the first time I met. And it was an ongoing relation with both of them. He is a terrific man. I know that I will surely miss him, the aloha spirit that he had, and I know that we have to carry on his legacy, perpetuating the aloha here on Kauai. Even with Ho'olakahi, he was always out there getting the volunteers, and that was his goal. I'm going to miss him, and a lot of people will miss him. He cared for all of us, as I had mentioned before. He was a man that loved everyone. It didn't matter who.
One of the things I wanted to share about the mayor was on our trip in 2004 with Annette, and we visited our sister cities in Japan. We were hosted by Mr. Kawashima, went to Kyoto, visit this beautiful shrine. Well, of course, it meant walking and taking steps. And of course, the mayor really enjoyed that. That was, walking anywhere for a distance was one of the favorite things the mayor wanted to do. After that, Mr. Kawashima took us to a restaurant right in the same vicinity. And the mayor by that time was hot, tired, and hungry. And at this restaurant, there was no air conditioning, but it was very beautiful. We sat down, and the first thing that came was tofu. And it was cut up in nice pieces and really looked presentable. The next dish that came was tofu. And the next, and the next, and it ended with the dessert being tofu. So needless to say, the mayor looked over and gave one of those eyes like, what the hell am I doing here eating tofu when I could be sitting down and eating other things? But that was all in the jest of fun and just being at a different place and enjoying the culture. But that was a cute moment when you could see his eyes and that looked like I'm eating tofu, tofu, tofu. So never again did the mayor want to touch tofu.
I loved the way he would always, when he would get to know you, he'd try to find something about you that was maybe a little bit embarrassing or something, and he would just tease you relentlessly about it every time that he saw you. And I think that was just his way of showing that he cared enough to get to know you, and he wanted to make you laugh and just make that connection. And I just loved that about him. He would always find that one little thing, that he could tease you about and really make you feel special whenever he saw you.
Interesting things between us, he will always question my being Japanese because he said I didn't act like a Japanese, although I looked like one. On a few occasions, he called me Portuguese, which later I realized it was actually a compliment coming from him. He actually had really incredible artistic and musical talents, and on one occasion we had some kind of get-together, but boy, he did a mean Elvis Presley. What a beautiful voice. He always kind of teased me about being a little bit older than him, and also he teased me about my green perspective and said that, well, Shelley would be riding her bike to work pretty soon. And Mayor, you're not far off the mark. I may be doing that real soon. But I really appreciate the time that I had with him and the just the honor of working with a visionary.
Really a man who was committed to Kauai, and just so this most recent project that we were working on about the Aloha spirit and talking about Aloha Begins With Me is something that I felt that he always took on projects that needed extra attention, and he really gave. And so this project that's going to be coming out shortly called Aloha Begins With Me is something that I'm very, very proud of, that he developed and helped nurture for the rest of us to carry on for the future.
Looks like they got us on the agenda by height. Saturday starts, and then I go, and then Mr. Countryman comes after me. And then I don't know, Mr. Kirimaka must be next. For all of you out there, we want to congratulate each and every one of you. A lot of people don't realize what it takes to keep aloha within Hawaii. And I'm glad that we honor those who promote that day in and day out, who instead of just talking about it, keep it as a sense of how we do things, how we live our lives, and how we treat other people. That is something that I ask you to please help us keep. It is not something that's easy to perpetuate. It is something that you have to work at. And you have to train those who are not familiar with it and how important it is for us to keep that as part of our being and part of the identity of who Kauai is and the state of Hawaii is. And so I'm very proud as I watch over the years on the state level, as well as here locally, all the people in the hospitality industry that have been honored, many state winners from Kauai. And I'm very proud to represent each and every one of you as we try to promote tourism and get a higher quality of guests in each and every year. Tourism has been good, but we've had our challenges over the last 2 months, and we will overcome. Kauai is fine, it's open for business, and because of you, that's why people will come. So mahalo, God bless, and thank you so very much for doing what you do.
We now return to primary election 1996 as we visit the top vote getter on the Republican ticket for County Council.
We're here at the campaign headquarters of Republican County Council candidate Bryan Baptiste. Bryan, what is your initial reaction for the first printout?
I'm very gratified, humbly gratified at the results so far. I want to thank my supporters here. They're the reason that we did as well as we did, and without them, I wouldn't be able to do it. We look forward to a hard battle in the November elections, and we ask for you folks to join our team, join this concept of you and I getting things done, and I think if we pool our resources, we'll be victorious in November.
Now, Bryan, you know, a lot of people felt that this was a Democratic race based on the fact that they were just trying to set up the slate as far as the top 7 is concerned. How important do you feel at this moment is it to, you know, be the leading Republican candidate?
Well, you have to take it with a grain of salt. I think we just have to put our noses to the grindstone and work as hard as we can, as we always do, to get the results that we want in November.
And most people here on our Garden Island of Kauai know of Bryan Baptiste or have heard of Bryan Baptiste simply because of your hard work uniting the island of Kauai together in which was perhaps arguably the largest volunteer program in the history of the state of Hawaii, needless to say Kauai. So you've had support, you know, throughout the North Shore, throughout Lihue, and of course out through the South Shore and the West Side. What would be your #1 platform as far as turning around the economy, turning around, you know, perception of negativism, and what would you say as far as you know, why would somebody want to support Bryan Baptiste as far as you and I getting things done together?
I think the abilities that I have is getting people together to create positive alternatives. None of this negative stuff. It just is not productive. And work with our business people, get their ideas, because they know much better than we do as council people of really what it takes for them and our economy to turn around. We don't have all the answers. Neither you nor I nor any of these people here have all the answers. But each of them has at least one of them. Each of them has a perception. Each of them has a place in government. And we bring people in government together along with business, and we're going to get over what we have. We're going to win this race, and we're going to get the economy back.
Aloha Kauai, we're here at the campaign headquarters of Bryan Baptiste. Bryan, you got an overwhelming crowd here. How do you feel?
Well, I mean, as you can see, we have people here, just good people, wonderful people with great hearts.
And I couldn't have done it without them. They're the backbone of everything that we do. And I'm asking them, little do they know it, we're asking them to join us in the next 2 years. We're in government to try and make a difference. And we ask all of you out there to do the same, to join us in government to overcome the challenges that we have. We need you, we need your ideas, we need your visions, we need your expertise. We need for you to walk side by side with us to overcome everything that we're facing today. And I ask you, please, from the bottom of my heart, let's join together and get things done.
You know, Bryan Baptiste, obviously we see a lot of emotion in your voice. We see a lot of emotion on your face. What was it like when the printout first came out and showed Bryan Baptiste running in second place?
Well, honestly, I couldn't believe it. I didn't know where I'd finish. We were just hoping to come within the top 7. But because of these people, I guess we finished in second. Where we're in second right now until the last printout. And if it wasn't for them, I swear, if it wasn't for them, we wouldn't be where we are today.
Bryan, you know, a lot of people picture you and know you as a very soft-spoken person. I guess obviously right now a lot of emotion is going through you, emotions perhaps of, a lot of hard work, a lot of fatigue, but mostly what I can sense and feel is that your ohana and your hard workers over here, I think really what made yourself and your family drive for the betterment of Kauai.
Yeah, these people are wonderful, you know.
You know, Bryan, obviously we are looking for another printout. It does look, of course, that you are certainly going to be one of the next council members in here. Obviously, the hard work is behind you, yet there's a lot of hard work coming in. What do you see would be one of the first things that you want to get accomplished for this island of Kauai?
First thing is to create programs that will include people, to bring council meetings accessible to the people, to involve people from business into round tables or groups that we can create task forces to try and look at the problems that we have, put the people over politics, put them over everything. And I think once we do that, there's nothing that we can't overcome.
You know, Bryan Baptiste, we're going to let you enjoy this moment. This is as good as time as any to please take this opportunity to thank not only your hundreds of supporters here, but the thousands that came together for you on this island of Kauai and Ni'ihau.
Well, to the people out there, I want to say thank you. And I guarantee you there will be nobody who works harder. There'll be nobody who will listen more. There'll be nobody who will treat you with more respect. And I ask you to join us. Please take a stand and join us, and we'll come and we'll get things done. Thank you. The first reading is Baptiste 3703, Kochi 3566.
Kauai, we're back, and with me is mayoral candidate Bryan Baptiste. Your impression of the first printout?
Well, we're very gratified at the first printout having us 137 votes ahead, but it's a very close race. And so, that doesn't mean anything until the last reading comes in. And we'll see if there's any trends that come into play into the second reading.
Traditionally, many people were saying that the strong suit for the Kochi camp is the fact that there are a lot of absentee voters that traditionally vote ahead of time that vote for Ron Kochi. Is this an encouraging sign for you to be leading after the first printout?
It's encouraging, but I'm cautiously optimistic. We tried hard to get people out to vote early, and maybe we were successful. So we'll have to see how it came to be on the second reading.
There was a huge roar after the first printout, and you cautioned your supporters that, of course, this is still an early evening. Why do you feel this race was such a coin toss between two very well-respected men here on this island of Kauai?
Well, it was a race not just about two candidates running against each other, but it was about a whole system that is trying to stay in place. And so you know, it's the voters had to make a choice between change of the system and the status quo. And that's why it's so close. Is, you know, sometimes people are not that ready for change or dramatic change. And so we'll see if at the end of the night they're saying, we believe change is what we need, or, you know, that they feel more comfortable with what's in place now.
Once again, we are here on General Election Night 2002, and with me is officially the new mayor for our Garden Island, Kauai, Mr. Bryan Baptiste. Well, Bryan, what can you say? It's been a long campaign, it's been a long night, it's been a long couple of years, it's been a long couple of months, and it's been everything but short.
Well, we want to thank everybody out there for their support in this election. We also want to thank all our volunteers, because truly they're the ones that won this election. It wasn't me. We had over 1,500 volunteers working on this campaign, and we want to thank each and every one of them from the bottom of our heart for each day they sign held, or each day that they walked house to house, or when they talked to their friends, because that's what this campaign was all about. It's not about Bryan Baptiste. It's about a group of people that have the heart to do what's right and to have this and share the same vision as we do.
You know, you are a relentless campaigner. Your staff, your organization, I mean, the people have been giving their blood, sweat, and tears and their heart. Your message from the start has been leadership from the heart. What is it going to take now to once again reunite the whole island to lead Kauai forward into the future?
Well, I'd like to officially ask everybody who's watching to become part of the process, to become part of the solution, so we can overcome the problems that we face today, whether it be drugs or whether it be traffic or our economy. Each and every one of you out there have something to offer, something to bring to the table, and you may have the idea that solves the problems that we face. We will create a venue for you to share those ideas. And I want to ask each and every one of you personally, come to the table. Don't be afraid. And let's make this island better. And it's not just the mayor's responsibility, it's each and every one of us. So please, come to the table.
You're going to have a solid core of a brand new council membership, in which case former Mayor Joanne Yukimura, of course, longtime councilman Kaipo Asing, upwards to 20 years. You got incumbents James Kunani Tokioka, Darryl Kaneshiro, General Manager Jay Fafaro, no surprise within this island of Kauai. You, of course, got Joe Munachika. He has been a past council member, and, of course, Mel Raposo. What is that chemistry going to be like for now, the new administration, to work with the council?
Well, I think if we can put the people first, if all of us can just put the people first and realize that we're public servants, and we're here to do the bidding of the people in the communities, to make sure that we respond, to make sure that we become as accountable as possible, and to make sure that we have honesty and integrity in everything that we do. If we start with a blank page and we all want to create this end result that we've shared through our general plan process, we can come together and we can solve anything. And it's not just the elected officials. It's our civil service employees, and it's also the people in the communities.
And as the old cliche goes, behind every strong man, there's a strong woman. In this case, it's Annette by your side from day number one. Annette, very, very relieved standing next to your husband. What's this journey been like for yourself?
Oh, for me, Bryan has tried to keep us on the side, try to let me focus more on the family, keep them together, but he has just marched forward so hard that, you know, there was nothing else we could do but join in and support him full-heartedly.
Welcome to you all. If you just joined us, I am here in our Eastern Corridor, specifically on the brand new, appropriately dedicated Mayor Bryan J. Baptiste Memorial Bridge. Now, this bridge was recently dedicated by state authorities, our county authorities, our Honorable Mayor Bernard P. Cavallo Jr., and of course with the blessings of our former governor, Linda Lingo. Now, this particular bridge was the vision of our late Mayor Bryan J. Baptiste. He was very concerned about many things, and one of the many things was the traffic here throughout our Eastern Corridor. Now, we're going to get caught in traffic anywhere in the state of Hawaii, on the Big Island, on Maui, on Oahu, and sometimes if we get stuck in traffic, my mom always used to say, better 5 minutes late than never. So perhaps this is a time that if we ever get caught in a little traffic, Maybe we can reacquaint ourselves with the Kamalani Bridge, the Kamalani Playground, beautiful Lidgate Park, or perhaps take a nice little cruise up the Wailua River via the Smith's boat to the Fern Grotto. Maybe we can go paddle up to Secret Falls, or of course, reacquaint ourselves with a wonderful hike there at Mount No'uno'u, the Sleeping Giant. As we dedicated this bridge several weeks ago, I stood right here at approximately the same spot, and I saw two young ladies kind of weeping, probably a little sorrow, probably and hopefully a lot of joy. But these two young ladies remember the hard work that was planted by our late Mayor, Brian J. Baptiste. Want to take this opportunity to share my aloha out to his very, very dear friends, Lori Kelikoma, and of course, Sansi Tamashiro that was right over here. I had an opportunity to hug them. We were all a little teary-eyed, and lo and behold, next to us to comfort us all was none other than our very dear friend, Auntie Aloha, Kawi Tanaka. Kick back and cruise, and let's once again celebrate, relive the life, and honor our very dear friend, the late Mayor Brian J. Baptiste. Thank you very much, Annette, for making this possible. Aloha.
You know, tonight is bittersweet. This is not something that is easy for each and every one of us to take. Many of you know these men and women. They are your sisters, your brothers, your moms, your dads, husbands, sweethearts. In fact, we had 7 weddings in the last month. You know, I'm not good at these kind of speeches because, like Teddy, I guess I'm a little emotional when it comes to this. Some of these men I've known for many years. It's very difficult to believe they won't be here, seeing them at McDonald's, seeing them at the football games. Most of them rooting for Waimea, I think, because they got 1 million of them from the west side. But tonight, you as a community have shown that in March or April of 2006, from this time forward to that day, your love, how much you care for these people, will be the strength that brings them home. I do have a proclamation to read. And of course, this has a lot of whereases, so don't fall asleep. And the proclamation reads to Company A, 2nd Battalion, 299th Infantry, 29th Separate Infantry Brigade Day. Whereas the unit is usually referred to as Alpha Company, and whereas they will be part of 3,500 soldiers from the Hawaii Army National Guard, Army Reserve, and Army National Guard soldiers from other states will be deployed to Iraq in February and March 2005. And whereas they will be providing a theater security in Iraq, theater security refers to the physical protection of critical facilities and personnel. And whereas the brigade will be mobilized, placed on federal active duty on August 16th, and many citizens of Hawaii who have served their nation and given the ultimate sacrifice for freedom. Whereas a series of events has been scheduled to bid Fond Aloha and until we meet again, and paid tribute to all these deserving soldiers. Now, therefore, I, Brian J. Baptiste, Mayor of the County of Kauai, State of Hawaii, do hereby proclaim August 18th as designated as Alpha Company Day on our beloved island throughout the County of Kauai, and urge all citizens of Kauai to join in the salute as we express our gratitude. And I really want to thank you guys, okay, for giving of yourselves. Gratitude to those who are now going to serve and protect our nation and our freedom. Done at the Vidina Stadium on the 18th day of August 2004, signed by myself, Mayor Brian Baptiste.
With us, Kauai, is our Honorable Mayor, Mayor Brian J. Baptiste. Brian, what a wonderful, very emotional and joyous day for all of Kauai today.
Yeah, it's a wonderful day. You know, I'd like to start off by thanking my staff for organizing all of this and putting it all together. And I want to especially thank the men and women who fought for us over there in Iraq and in other destinations as well. as they fought for our freedom. It was a great day, and we celebrated two occasions today. The birth of a track and the return of our sons and daughters who were over there fighting for us. Couldn't have been a more perfect day. The weather held up, the sun came out, we got blessings a little bit in the morning, and we got to thank everybody out there for what they do each and every day to make Kauai a better place.
Mayor Baptiste, you and I had chatted on several occasions about a year and a half ago when you led all of us in the departure and the farewell of our troops. Really not a dry eye in the stands, including yourself and myself and yourself, but to see it all come in full circle as you stood there to say, trust me, all of Kauai will be here to welcome everyone back. It just seems with the parade, you know, you mentioned all the hard work that your staff did. I couldn't think of a more flawless event filled with many, many tears of joy.
Yeah, it's a lot different than 18 months ago. A lot of apprehension 18 months ago. This time it's just pure joy to have them all home. It's a wonderful day.
There were a lot of things about being mayor that he did not like. That's a really hard question to ask because I know he wanted to be the mayor, and he wanted to be the mayor not because of any personal recognition or the ceremonial stuff. He just had a lot of things in his heart that he wanted to get done for this island. And so I think he felt obligated, compelled to do this and to serve the public in this way. But there was so much of it, really, honestly, that he did not enjoy. And many times it was hard for him, especially when we were in the middle of a contentious issue, and he could see people just, divisions created among people. Instead of coming together, people moving apart. And those kind of things, it was not easy for him to brush that off. So, when you see him on a daily basis, especially, behind closed doors, or, within private conversations, a lot of it wasn't pleasant for him, and he really agonized over many things that were happening. But in his heart, he knew that's what he needed to do. It's what he wanted to do for our community. So that's a tough question to answer. I don't think he enjoyed it like many others enjoy public service and public office. But in his heart, he did it because he wanted to, and he did it because he loved our island and he loved the people, and he so cared about the children. I mean, it was always about the kids. What are we going to do? What are we going to leave for our kids? And I don't think he felt he could live his life any other way.
I think the mayor had this incredible sense of urgency. And I used to tell people, I think people make judgments, and they see the mayor walking along and, probably not at lightning speed like you walk, but, walking along and they make judgments and they say, he's moving slow and this and that. And I used to tell people, don't judge don't make that kind of judgments of the mayor, because he moves faster than anybody that I know. I mean, truly. Again, if you're familiar with the mayor, there was a sense of urgency to everything that he did. I mean, he could look laid back and, kick back and laugh and talk story with people, but beneath that, there was this incredible sense of urgency. He understood truly how short life is, and I think it's a wake-up call for all of us. And an example of that is, he'd say, Gary, I want you to get a hold of this person, and I want you to discuss this, and I want this to happen. Yes, Mayor. By the time I could get on the phone and call that individual, the response would be, oh yeah, the mayor already called me. It's like, okay. So, I mean, this guy was moving at lightning speed. And I mean, he never asked any of us, he never asked anyone to work harder than he was willing to work. And, I recall some evenings, we'd be sitting there at like 8 o'clock in the evening, I'd be in my office, and he'd drag himself into my office, sit down in a chair across from my desk, and we'd just be sitting there looking at each other like two fighters who had just gone 12 rounds, Couldn't say anything, and he'd look at me and he'd go, and I'd look back at it and go, And we just sit there looking at each other like we were both totally spent, you know. And but that's what he did, you know. He gave it all every day that he was here, you know. And I'm not just talking about Monday through Friday. I mean, everybody knows, you know, you're out on the weekend at a function, you'd see the mayor, you know. And it didn't matter where it was, when it was, you'd see the mayor.
On a personal note, the mayor would tease me about being older, but he also basically acknowledged that I was more fit than he was. But at the end of the day, I was always amazed that he was like the ever-ready bunny and could go and go and go. And, you know, he was at different occasions and different things in the evening when I was probably passed out in front of my television and couldn't even make the 10 o'clock news. That was also pretty amazing.
And I couldn't do it alone. I want to emphasize today that what you're doing now and what we're doing now is we're electing, it's not about electing Bryan Baptiste for mayor. It's about my administrative assistant, Gary Yu. Is Gary here? Gary, would you please come up? Gary celebrates his 50th birthday. Come up, Gary, come on up, Gary. I want to sing him happy birthday. Hurry up. Now he's just as old as I am. I was older for 2 months, for 3 months. But this is going to be his 50th birthday, and I want to sing him happy birthday. So for all of us, please, 1, 2, 3. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday, dear Gary. Happy birthday to you, you old fart.
Put your hands together for the Honorable Mayor for the County of Kauai. Put your hands together for Mayor Bryan J. Baptiste and his lovely wife, Annette. Let's give them a big hand. Beautiful. Must be nice and hot in there, eh, Annette? Woo! Hatsui desu ne. Bryan, come over here and say a few words. We got a lot of visitors. Come on, everybody. The Honorable Mayor of the County of Kauai, Bryan J. Baptiste.
Hey, Dickie, call 911. It's been a long walk. We hope you have a wonderful weekend. This is a great parade. We'll see you out at the park. Have a wonderful weekend. Mahalo. We're all brought together here today for one thing. And that one thing is Kauai, our Kauai. And it's about us and the love we have for the place we live, for the place we've come to, for the place we've grown up in. It's about us being able to give of ourselves each and every day to make Kauai a better place. I'm allowed to do this because of my family, first and foremost, and because of the Lord above, as He's given me this opportunity. So I want to thank my family, first of all, my wife Annette. You know, she has a much harder job than I do in taking care of the family and making sure that the children have the right role models as I'm out in the community just about each and every day. We have my oldest son, Brandon. My second child went back to college on Thursday in Colorado. That's Heather. And then we have Lauren. She's graduating this year from high school. And then the baby of the family, although he's taller than all of us, Preston Ikaika Baptiste. You know, we're here today to talk about Kuleana. How many of you understand the word Kuleana? Raise your hands, please. In the next 10 months, you're going to be sure to see and to understand that word, because I strive to get people to understand our responsibility. When I was a kid, my father was mayor, and he told me that the reason we're put on this earth is to make it better the day we leave than it was the day we arrived. And that is our kuleana, how we place ourselves in this world, and how we look at ourselves in relationship to our responsibility, not just to the Aina, but also to each other, and how we treat each other, and how we support each other, how we love each other, and how we make lives better for each other.
Kauai, beautiful beneath sun and rain. I can't imagine any place I'd rather be. 'Cause this is our island, a riding in the sun. And this is our island, Kauai, our home. Children playing on the beach at Kalapake's. I remember the days when life was simple and free. This is our island, a riding in the sun. This is our island, Kauai, our island home. Kuleana, malama aina ikapono. Kuleana means responsibility. Kauai, our island in the sun. Kuleana, lama aina ikapono. Kuleana means responsibility. Kauai, our island in the sun.
Sticking together, talking story, coming out for the Kaleo program that he was very instrumental in starting. And it was just trying to get the communities back together. You know, we've gone our separate ways, and he wanted to bring it all together, and it's begun, and we need to keep on. We need to keep doing this because it's for all of us. It's for the island of Kauai.
He would want us, as much as we all miss him, he would want us to keep focused on our core mission, which is to provide the best possible service we can to the people of this island. And I think for us here at the county, that's the way we can best honor his memory, is to keep focused on that mission.
I think the mayor would like for us to take care of each other, to take care of our community, to take care of our Aina, and to really share the aloha spirit with everyone.
You know, one of the things we were working on with the mayor at the time that he passed was an effort that he felt really strongly about, which was to really bring our community together, to bring people, young and old, new residents, longtime residents, you know, everybody kind of coming to the point of really appreciating Kauai and appreciating each other. He called it Mea Ho'omana'o, the reminder, and we're just working on it when he passed. And, you know, we really want to see this come to fruition. And the phrase that we were using for this project was, "Aloha begins with me." And I hope you'll be hearing more about that in the months that come. But, you know, to me, it really embodied what the mayor was all about, because he was the first, you know, to step up and to show aloha and to stop, take a moment out of his very, very busy day to help somebody with something that might be so mundane. and routine, but he would take the time to do that, you know, and he wanted to model that for others. And I think he would love for us to take that and for us to become that role model, for us to feel that, you know, if we can show others the right way, the Kauai way to relate to each other, that maybe we'll all do the same. And that's what I think most of all, he would want us to love each other, and he would want us to be in a relationship with each other and to be a community that takes care of each other.
He was just such a committed man to Kauai and really went on the edge on some important issues for Kauai. I so amazed at his bravery to take on projects that not many politicians would take on, and stands, you know, that was something that I was really in awe of him and respectful of him, because that was something that I felt that he was willing to do what was best for Kauai's people. That was first. And I'm going to miss him as a person. He was just so amazing to really spend time with individuals, be it at special events. Somebody said, and I think actually it was you that said, you know, he was at so many events around the island to really be special to, whether it was a baby blessing or a luau or a birthday party. I mean, he was there. And I always felt that that was first to him, you know, and that was something that I'm going to really miss, is that he put Kauai and her people first over his job and doing what was right for them. And I'm going to miss him.
Tonight I was trying to think of what I was going to say, so forth, so on, and I had no idea whatsoever. And then I came in here and I looked at the ko'olaus and I looked at how beautiful the work is, you know, what God has done with each of those ridges and the vegetation that He's put on there. And I thought, transformation in my mind is a soft word. It is one that you don't pull somebody to transform them. You don't push them to transform them. You don't. You know, when I look at each and every one of you out there, I think of you like raindrops, because I was looking at the ko'olaus, and really that's what has changed them over the years into what the beautiful thing that they are today. Thousands upon thousands of raindrops that have created each of those divisions within that mountain that make it so beautiful. And those same raindrops create those ridges. They go into the ground. They create these beautiful flowers that you see here by nurturing their roots. They go into the aquifers. We drink that water. And tonight when I was here, each time that I've done this over the last 6 months, I have to cry before I can speak. And I've been a leader for a long time, and I've said, why am I crying? And tonight it came to me. Those tears about transformation. They're about taking your heart and transforming that soul into one of faith. So I ask each and every one of you, this is my raindrop. And I ask each and every one of you to go out tomorrow as the rains come from heaven each and every day. I ask each and every one of you to become a raindrop, not just on government, not just on the grocery store where you work. Be a raindrop each and every moment of your day. And make that change. One of you, each day, make a simple change. Be that raindrop to transform people into better people. please take the time to go outside the churches, to go outside your normal place of prayer, your normal place of worship, your normal place of talking about God, and live God each day.
Aloha, Kauai. We hope that you're enjoying reminiscing the beautiful memories of our great, great friend, the Honorable Mayor 1bryan J. Baptiste. This next beautiful song was written by his very dear friend years ago, prior to him even becoming the Ho'olokahi coordinator and the manager right here at the Kauai War Memorial Convention Hall. The song was written by his very dear friend, Mr. Art Umezu. It was produced by his very dear friend, Robbie Kaholokula, and it was sung by his very dear friend, Doric Yaris. Enjoy the memories, Mayor. This is for you, my friend. Aloha.
Here we are in paradise, waiting for the sun to rise. You are my love and my life forevermore. I love you so. Summer afternoon in paradise, sailing with the sun, we'll fly. You are my hope and my dream forevermore. I love you so. Kauai, the island of my dreams. I love you so. Kauai. Somewhere in your eyes there's a smile, free and easy going like a child. And you are my love and my life forevermore. I love you so. Kauai, the island of my dreams. I love you so. Kauai. Kauai, Kauai. You are the island of my dreams. You are the island of my dreams.
I promise every one of you, and I hope that you see it in my work, that it will give you 150% each and every day of my life. And I promise each and every one of you, if you're willing to join me, if you're willing to support our effort, then each and every day we will make Kauai a better place for tomorrow, for yesterday, and especially for years to come. God bless you.
Have a great day, and thank you so very much. Thank you from the bottom of my heart. I love you so. Thank you.